Hey, welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm joined by Ashley Rocha. She is the CEO and founder of LadyWell and a trained herbalist specializing in women's health. LadyWell gives women the tools to care for their hormones and well being through targeted life stage supplements. LadyWell has helped thousands of women regain hormone balance, fix PMS, improve fertility, and gracefully navigate perimenopause to live pain free, fulfilling lives. Today, Ashley and I are going to be talking about PMDD. So, Ashley, I want to kick it over to you to get us started. And if you could, can you just sort of define for us what PMDD is?
Yes. So PMDD is like PMS, but definitely way different because PMDD, well, first of all, they both occur in the luteal phase of your cycle. So the week before your period, but PMDD is much more severe and life disrupting. PMS will be these common symptoms that we all probably are familiar with on some level because 75% of women have PMS. It's the bloating, water retention, breast tenderness, mild mood swings, like mild symptoms in general. But PMDD is really like PMS on steroids. So it really gets in the way of you living your life. It can have very intense mood swings. So I would say it's the emotional part of PMS is amped up significantly. You'll have a lot more irritability, severe depression or feelings of hopelessness. Easy to anger, like you can really snap at people very quickly. You have high anxiety or panic attacks. And you won't necessarily have all these things, like it's different for each person, but those are definitely the symptoms that can come with that. And then you can have debilitating fatigue and brain fog and insomnia and severe bloating and body pain. Like for me, I had like such bad cramps that I was taking 20 Advil a day just to, remedy those cramps. I was like really quick to anger. I had really bad mood swings. In some cases, people can have suicidal thoughts during that time. And I would say that, it's not, you're not suffering from depression as a clinical condition because when your period begins, those symptoms of if you have depression, anxiety, whatever it is, go away. So the onset of your period. So that's how you can determine whether it's hormone related or not. But yeah, so PMDD is just a PMS, but a lot worse. And it's a clinical condition, a severe clinical condition that
Yeah,
you can get diagnosed now. And they've recently added it, I think in the last 10 years, they've recognized it as a condition in the medical field.
right. So it does sound to me like the big differentiator here between PMS and PMDD is just the severity of it and that it's more extreme. So that's how someone would really kind of be tuned in and know like, hey, this
Yeah.
might be a little out of proportion. I need to pay attention here and might need to check into this a little bit further.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely um, heads more on the emotional side. So if the emotional symptoms are really dialed up, then that's more of a PMDD. Like you might have PCOS or endo if you're having a lot of period pain, like body pain. So that's
Mhm.
something to look into. But if you're having like these like giant mood swings, that's PMDD.
Yeah. Okay. So what does the diagnosis process look like for somebody that thinks that they might have this problem?
So there are no specific lab tests you can take for PMDD, unfortunately. When you take hormone tests in general, you're really just taking a snapshot of that exact time. It's like a photo of that exact moment. And as we know, like that exact moment doesn't equal a life. Like our lives are filled up by a million exact moments. So you can take a Dutch test. That's what I recommend if you want to do
Mhm.
hormone testing. But PMDD is diagnosed based on symptoms and their timing rather than specific lab tests. So you really need to track your symptoms. That's the most important thing. Diagnosis usually starts with tracking symptoms over at least 2 menstrual cycles.
Mhm.
So the symptoms must occur in the luteal phase, like I said, the week before your period, and then improve within a few days of menstruating starting. And you must have at least 5 symptoms, including one severe mood related symptom.
Okay.
So, like I talked about, mood swings, irritability, anxiety, depression. You have to have one of those. And then other common symptoms, fatigue, brain fog, insomnia. So we're really just looking at your symptoms and the timing of your symptoms to diagnose you. And then a doctor will review your symptom history and they have a PMDD questionnaire that they can help go through to figure that out. And they'll also rule out other conditions in the meantime, like a hormone panel to check if you have thyroid imbalances or other hormonal issues,
Mhm.
mental health screening to rule out underlying mood conditions. I think a lot of the times I've heard that women get diagnosed with like bipolar and what they really have PMDD. So they're just trying to, separate those things. Like everything's murky in this world when it comes to symptoms overlapping. And so we're just trying to make sure that you don't have one thing and have another thing.
For sure. So once someone kind of gets a diagnosis, what does treatment look like?
Yeah, so treatment is going to be lifestyle changes. And then also having the knowledge that you have it, I think is one of the more helpful things for me. I didn't realize I even have had PMDD for like 2 decades. So I just kind of struggled with it and didn't even know what was happening. Um, you have to track your cycle. I think that's the most important thing. So you're just really aware of the timing of your these episodes that you might have. And so you'll know when your luteal phase is coming up and you'll know how to, you know, um, better be kind to yourself and, empower the people around you to tell them like, okay, this is going to happen. So that's like the first step. But I would say in terms of trying to remedy these symptoms in general, it's going to be lifestyle changes, nutrition, supplements, exercise, sleep, de-stressing. So a lot of the common things that we're told all the time to do to be healthy.
Hmm.
But there are definitely diets that can help you and then herbs and supplements that can help you. And that's really why we began LadyWell is because I had PMDD for, like I said, 2 decades and struggled so much with it. And then in my mid 30s, I was trying to get pregnant and I was really slow to get pregnant. And I was like, okay, there's something off with my hormones. And so I'm a trained herbalist and I turned to the plant world. I knew that the plants could solve a lot of issues for us and we don't turn to them enough. So I looked at plant medicine and found all these amazing herbs, all these different supplements that really helped me get rid of my PMDD. Like it took me 6 months to get rid of something that I'd had for 2 decades. So it
Wow.
was kind of amazing that these things existed and I just didn't know about them, to be
Yeah.
honest. But I can go into the different herbs that can help as well.
Well, let me ask one question first.
Yeah.
So since this like occurs typically just in the luteal phase, these things that you're incorporating, like the herbs or the supplements, and I mean the lifestyle changes, I feel like definitely have to come all the time across the board. But what about the supplements? Is it targeted like once you track your cycle and you know when you're getting into the luteal phase, are these things that you add in only at that time, or you're typically incorporating all of the time?
It depends. It depends on what the supplement is. There are supplements out there that are very specific to different phases of your cycle. You can do seed cycling where you eat different seeds
Hmm.
at different times of your cycle. I would, you have to figure out what works for your body, what works for you, and what works for your schedule as well. Like for me, before I had kids, like I did seed cycling and I did a lot of different things that now I know I just don't have time to do.
Yeah.
So now I just take one supplement every day. Like it was from LadyWell, from my company that I've developed that, helps simplify this whole process. So it's really dependent on the supplement
Yeah.
itself. But I would say in general, things that you should just be doing all the time is taking care of your gut health. Like a lot of hormone issues can come from poor gut. Our gut and our hormones are really linked. So if your hormones aren't getting rid of the used hormones every month through your poo and getting stuck in your stomach and recirculating, you'll have estrobolome, which is a collection of gut bacteria that metabolizes estrogen that will be off, and that will cause estrogen dominance, and that can lead to PMDD. So
Yeah.
it's important to try to figure out those solutions, but just like general good gut health and good eating habits is really important for that. And if you're
You
eating
were,
like tons of antacids, like Tums and stuff, then that's definitely a sign that there's something going on.
yeah, yeah. Well, you were about to get into some of the specific like herbals, and I don't want to glaze over that. I don't want to skip over that. So take that away. Tell us about that.
Yes, yeah. So there are definitely a handful of herbs and plants and adaptogens that are amazing for PMDD. The first being chasteberry, which is one that I think is one more commonly known for women's health. It's been studied. It's great. Chasteberry can be as effective as a SSRI, which is an antidepressant. And when you go to the doctor, and you tell them you have bad PMS or PMDD, they will usually prescribe you hormonal birth control or SSRIs or a combination of the two because SSRIs are, helping that emotional part of PMDD. For me, like I knew I didn't want to take antidepressants at the time, like throughout my life. Like it just wasn't the solution. I knew I wasn't depressed, so I didn't want to do that. But luckily, there's an herb called chasteberry that is as effective as an antidepressant. You don't have to take antidepressants.
Yeah.
And it influences hormone balance by promoting more stable hormone levels throughout the cycle. So that's a really great one to take. Saffron is an amazing herb. It's been studied, so it has been proven to work, which is really awesome for herbs because there isn't a ton of money in studying herbs. They're not pharmaceuticals, so
Mhm.
there's not like a lot of studies, unfortunately, around herbs in general, but there's definitely a few great ones that we can look to. So saffron is a really effective herbal agent for treating PMDD with minimal adverse side effects. Research indicates it can help reduce mood swings, irritability, and other common like PMSy type complaints. I would focus on taking B vitamins. So B6 is really a great vitamin to take and make sure you have enough of that. Ashwagandha is an amazing one. I think that ashwagandha gets a lot of press. It's a great adaptogen. I think it's great for everybody, outside of having PMDD as well. Stress is such a bad thing for our hormones. And stress is so hard for us to avoid. Like we can try to remove stress from our lives, but we're humans. Stress is going to happen to us. So what ashwagandha does and adaptogens do is helps alleviate the emotional and physiological symptoms associated with PMS through how a stress affects your body. So say something happens to you that's really stressful. It's about how you react to it. You
Mhm.
roll with the punches better. Like stress is going to come in, but you don't feel as stressed out by the same levels of stress.
Yeah.
So that's important. And then the last one I'll talk about is magnesium. Most of us are magnesium deficient. So it's really smart to just start taking magnesium as a woman anyways, even if
Mhm.
you don't have PMDD, but PMDD, you get like really bad cramps and you can't sleep and everything. So magnesium will definitely help with the symptoms of PMS, hormone balance in general, and just make you feel better, to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
So I know, and one of the things that the people that are in my community, they already know this. They've heard me harp on it before. But it's not always as simple as like going to Walmart or Kroger and grabbing whatever supplement is on the shelf there.
Yeah.
I have harped with this community on the importance of getting quality supplements and really trusting in where you are purchasing from. And I know part of LadyWell is that you have the supplement line. So tell us a little bit more about what supplements you have to offer and kind of why you felt called to create that.
Yes, and I think you bring up a really good point of the shopping for supplements. There's so much different stuff and noise and confusion. And I know I just said like chasteberry and ashwagandha, but you can. It's if you just go buy a chasteberry by itself, it's going to be less effective than buying a formula that's really comprehensively, holistically formulated because herbs work better together synergistically. So when they're paired with other herbs, it brings out different qualities. And so that's why buying something that's thoughtfully formulated is really key here. So with our daily hormone balance, which is what I recommend for PMDD, it's a really comprehensive formula that includes adaptogens, functional mushrooms, amino acids, vitamins, herbs, all in one formula that takes like the piecing together of these different herbs and guesswork for women out of the equation. These are things that I've tried and pieced together myself in my life, and I've has worked for me. And I've worked with functional medicine doctors. I work with regular doctors. I have a medical board. So these are really thought through formulas that, find wisdom in traditional Chinese medicine and then conventional Western medicine as well. So just looking
Mhm.
at things through law lenses is really important. And when you're looking at buying a supplement, you also want to make sure you're buying one that's tested, that's uses quality ingredients, bioavailable. Um, price is a little bit of a red flag of quality because I know what it takes to make a quality supplement. Like ingredients are expensive.
Yep.
And so if something is priced like really lower, a lot lower than another thing, then they have bought really low quality ingredients that might not be bioavailable. So you might just be wasting your money or potentially harming yourself by taking something that has endocrine disruptors in it or toxins. So just making sure that something that's pure, tested from a brand that's made in America is preferable.
Mhm.
And Yeah, it's important because you want to do good and not do more harm. So, you want to buy supplements that are in glass bottles, not plastic containers, because you can control these little things with
Yeah,
your life, your health.
absolutely. Well, I know that you have a discount code for the women in the audience that are listening in the event that they would like to check you out and make a purchase. So, I know that discount code, I have it written down. It's Vanda20, and I'll be putting a link in the show notes for you guys, so that you can go and check that out. Ashley, is there anything else that you want to leave us with, or anything you feel like we didn't hit on that you wanted to cover before we wrap up?
I would just say that I recommend everybody track their cycle and just learn what happens at different phases of your cycle, even if you're not trying to get pregnant. Like I think we
Yep.
think like, okay, once you want to get pregnant and start tracking your cycle, but the journey starts way earlier than that. Having that information is just going to be so empowering for the rest of your life and help you diagnose things like PMDD. And then once you want to get pregnant, help you figure that out. Or if you're going through perimenopause, help you understand that. It's just our periods are our fifth vital sign. So it's such a indication of our overall health and not just our reproductive health, just our overall health in general. And it can really be telling us messages and telling us things and pointing out like illnesses that you might have that you didn't know you had beforehand. So I think that's the most important thing that we can do for ourselves as women.
Yeah, I totally agree. I harp all the time on the importance of tracking your cycle and knowing what is normal for the follicular phase, for the luteal phase, because we do feel differently during those phases, and that's important. It's
Mhm.
a good thing that we feel differently, but it's much more important to know how you should feel and what is normal versus what is getting into those gray areas of this might not be normal.
Yeah.
I did think of one question that is supplement related and pertinent to the women that are in my audience. There's lots of women that are either still breastfeeding or currently pregnant. So I'm curious, and I'll just go ahead and give the disclaimer that we're not giving medical advice here, and you should always talk things over with your provider. But are your supplements safe for pregnancy and breastfeeding? Is that something you feel like even comfortably you can speak to? Because that is, again, a provider conversation most of the time.
Yeah, so we have fertility supplements. So things that you should be taking prior to conception,
Hmm.
fertility boosting, egg health, supplements called fertility and egg health. And it helps with your ovarian function, egg quality. And I recommend taking that starting at least 6 months in advance from trying to conceive. So you can just make sure you can carry a healthy pregnancy, get pregnant faster, really. Then we have but once you become pregnant, you stop taking that. And
Yeah.
that has CoQ10, folate, and vitamin D and other things in it. And then we have a prenatal, which is, of course, you take during pregnancy. You should also take that 6 months in advance to trying to conceive so you can get your nutrient stores up.
Hmm.
And then I still take my prenatal. I am a year and a half postpartum now. I just think it's a better, like a quality supplement, a really quality vitamin. So um, I always continue to take it postpartum. Like you should definitely still take prenatals when you're postpartum. Your nutrients are just getting poured out of your body. So I definitely recommend that. And then I took my daily hormone balance when I was postpartum. Your hormones are on such a roller coaster, and you should really be proactive about your hormonal health. And I think planning ahead before you are in that period of postpartum is really smart. And just understanding what that hormone journey is going to be like, understanding that, and then having the tools to help your hormones and fix your hormones. And of course, like as me not being a doctor and not trying to give medical advice, it's up to every woman to like determine what they want to take if they're breastfeeding. But if you're not breastfeeding, you definitely should be taking the daily hormone balance. That will help you stabilize your hormones. It will help with the stress, the sleep. You're under such massive stress during that time. So having adaptogens is only going to be helpful. I was breastfeeding. I'm still breastfeeding. I take daily hormone balance every day. So I believe that it's great for your body.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much for sharing
no
that.
problem. Hmm.
I have enjoyed this conversation so much. I'm so glad that you came to share with us. I doing the work that I do with hormones and minerals, I know about PMDD, but I certainly don't feel that I am an expert on it by any means. I have a friend that suffers with PMDD, and I have clients I've worked with in the past that have struggled with PMDD. So I've seen it firsthand, and I was so glad to have you on the podcast to just come from more of an expert role to talk about it. So,
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
yeah, you're welcome. All right, guys, that is it for today. I will talk with you next week.